Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the brand new Sydonian Skatros for the Adeptus Mechanicus. Now you might be thinking, he needs to put it in frame, and I do. It's just my hilarious little joke. Yes, Stilt Man is here. Now you guys really like this one from the stream, and I kind of like him. He's just weird. So, you know, it is what it is. Either way, we're going to be painting him up today because Games Workshop has sent me early. So massive thank you to them for doing that, because we've got to get hands-on with this delightful Marmite of a model. And, well, we're just going to jump in and we're going to start painting him. We're going to be painting him in the colours of Mars, and he's been primed in grey Seer. And the colour we're going to be using first is Baal Red. Now, there is quite a fair bit of red going on here, so what we need to do is we need to start at the bottom of his oh so very long legs and make our way up the model, just being really methodical. So we start with the feet, just down here like so. I want to get this all over before we move on to the next bit, because otherwise I will forget a section. I don't want to do that. Just like that. Then we move up to this little bit. This is kind of like an armoured section. We're just going to stop there at the coil. Make sure that we get the edge. Like that. And then we have the next tiny little bit up, just there. Like that. Now we are going to do the same thing on the other leg, but now we're going to make our way back up to the next stilt. Next part on the stilt, I should say, which is this little kind of armoured ring. Like that. And now it gets a little bit easier, because we're going to do the entirety of this structure, including that little servo just there. And we bring it all the way up until this kind of sockety bit at the foot, well, where the foot used to be, or the lower leg. We want to do the spiky bit just there. Like so. And make sure we get this all over that little joint. And then we're going to paint in the rest of it. Like that. And then for the rest of him, we're going to be painting in things like armor, headgear, his backpack. There's a whole bunch of red. So with all of that Baal Red applied, as you can see, what we're now going to do is move on to our next colour, which is going to be some Black Legion. And once again, we've got a little bit of fiddliness to deal with. So we've got things like the coils on the stilts. Like this one. Like that, and we've got the one above it as well. Like so. We're then going to, again, take another jump up. And we're going to start applying this over the top of the black strap on the weapon. Like that. Brush a quick wash. And then we move on to all of his clothes. But not any of the leather. Just like this, over the top of this leg. Like that. We're also going to do this over the top of a little splodge of black there on the red. Just use a clean brush to just remove that. Like that. So we've got the trousers, we've got the shirt. But what we're also going to do is we're going to apply this over things like the smooth cable coming down here. Like that. And don't worry about the Mechanicus symbol on the back yet, we'll do that later. So with all of that Black Legion now applied, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown and we are going to apply this now over the top of all of the leather details. And with all that Cygor Brown applied, we then take some Garaghak Seer. I'm going to use this to paint all of the wood on the weapon. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this over, well, pretty much all of the remaining details. Now there is another metallic yet to come, but we're just going to start applying this over everywhere that we can see. Again, you don't have to do this over all of the remaining details if you don't want to. You can just apply it over the areas that you want to be silver, because we are going to be doing a gold after this. But we're just going to start applying this over the top of things like the stilts, the joints and servos, the large ribbed cables, some of the more mechanical areas of the gun, and so on and so forth. I'd recommend having a little look at the box art. It will tell you where to replace most of it. But once again, just take it nice and methodically, one section at a time. And then once that's done, we'll come back. So with all of that Iron Warriors applied all the way around, as you can see, what we're going to do now is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. I'm going to start applying this over the top of all of our remaining details and any kind of decorative bits or any kind of sort of alternate mechanics and things like that. Again, I would recommend having the box art open for this bit, so you can see where to place these gold details. So with that done, we've got all of our base coats on our Sydonian Skatros, except for the Mechanicus symbol on the back. But don't worry, we're going to do that last. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add some shades. And the first of these is going to be some Agrax Earthshade. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of the red. Now, one thing to point out as you are painting in your red is you will come up against some of the silver details that are placed inside the red. For example, things like the rivets and plugs and things like that. And it's okay to shade those with this as well. That's all right. You don't have to avoid those. With all that Agrax Earthshade applied, we're then going to take some Reikland Fleshshade. I'm going to use this to shade all the gold. And with that Reikland Fleshshade applied, we're then going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm going to use this to shade all the black and all the silver. So with those shades applied, our Sydonian Skatros is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready, excluding this Mechanicus icon on the back. But again, we're going to leave it to the end, so we'll do that a little bit later. Now before we get to that, what we're going to do is we're going to start the highlights, because we're going to take it to the next level. And the colour we're going to be using first for this is some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. And we're going to use this to highlight all the red. So with all of that Evil Sunz Scarlet applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Wild Rider Red. And we're going to add this to the sharpest points in all of our red. So for example, down here on the foot, we're just going to add a little bit of it on the corners, there and there like that. And there, like so. So that done, all of the red is now finished. So what we're going to do is move on to the next colour, which is going to be all of the black. The colour we're going to be using to highlight all of this is some thinned down Dawnstone. And just like we've done with the red, we're just going to pick out all the edges. So with all of that Dawnstone now applied, what we're going to do is going to take some thinned down Gorthor Brown. I'm going to use this to highlight both the wood and the leather. And it's going to appear more stark on the leather than it is on the wood, but that's okay, that's exactly what we want. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is work on the metallics. So the colour we're going to be using is Ironbreaker. And we're going to be using this to highlight all of the silver. However, on these stilt poles, rather than kind of doing a highlight, we are just going to layer this. I want these to be nice and bright. So with that all done, we're now going to take some Ork Flesh. I'm going to use this over the top of any lenses. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Liberator Gold, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of our gold details. So we are looking for a highlight here. However, on some of these more teeny tiny little details, we are just going to basically do a relayer, especially over things like coils and whatnot. So with that done, we now need to finish off our Skatros by doing that Adeptus Mechanicus logo on the back. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the right hand half of the coil and the left hand half of the skull. And then finally, we're going to take a little bit of Corax White. I'm going to apply this over the other half of the skull and the cog.
So with the base all complete, our Sydonian Skatros is now finished. And, well, love it or hate it, it's very quick to do. It's a pretty cool miniature. I mean, like I said, it's a marmite of a miniature. I think you either really like it or you really don't like it. And I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, really. I think it's alright. Just wish there was something a little bit bigger. More interesting, in fact. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.